Nobody want to hear it again? Issue's over.
George? Excuse me, I don't believe that from a point of order, a vote, even a verbal vote is appropriate at this particular point in these proceedings, number one. Number two, I have not stated that I disagree with any of the legal conclusions. I said I could not understand the analysis. I'm entitled to a re-agendization of an issue that the board has addressed only orally, verbally, and with an audio record. There, to the best of my knowledge, at least in these last 7 months that I've been on this board, there has not been a memorandum from legal counsel addressing this matter, at least since the whole thing started the 1st of January. So notwithstanding, it is within my right and purview to request, even if I get shot down in flames, that this item be agendized at a future meeting. And I'm asking that it be agendized at the next meeting, as well as, just to recapitulate, the issue of board review of the A to Z professional services agreement, as well as regular review of legal invoicing. That's simply good governance, notwithstanding my deficiency in not having attended quite as many small district training sessions as some of my fellow board members.
Through the chair, just again, as a point of order that Director Ulrich has pointed out here, I would take that request for re-agendizing the same matter that was taken up on June 26th as a motion for reconsideration. That would be the proper way of going, and you have to vote to actually reconsider before you can actually redo that agenda item. So.
And that is also in our bylaws too, isn't it, Mr. Quango?
And the reconsideration has to be made at the next following meeting, which is what this is since June 26th.
And that would be the appropriate approach to consider
That's usually
this.
how it happens if you want to redo something, is to do a reconsideration.
First is the vote for reconsideration, then there's the reconsideration.
Right.
And which item are we reconsidering?
I wouldn't know.
Which item on the June 26th agenda are we reconsidering?
I don't know, I don't understand what you're asking.
I'm just following up on the comment that was just made regarding a procedural matter.
Item 13. Report on the septic tank pollution and unpermitted sewer connection issues in the Ojai Valley Sanitary District Service Area and the relationship of statewide housing shortage relief efforts to existing wastewater collection and treatment responsibilities, and approve direction to staff on these issues. That's the item.
And
That was the item that I gave my analysis on SB 1069 and SB 229 and the health and safety code sections and government code sections which you had cited in your previous comments.
And at this point, I'm just fine with a written analysis, since I could not follow, and several of my constituents cannot follow your verbal analysis. And the record here in the minutes is the secretary following the same audio record.
I'm sorry, I've lost you, Bill. I don't understand what you're asking for now.
He wants
A
to
legal
explain.
analysis has been generated. It is within the purview of a board member to request a legal memorandum of that analysis.
A legal memorandum of an analysis.
Yes,
So
a
you
memorandum
want
of a
Cliff's-
legal
you want
analysis.
Cliff's notes of that? Is that what you're asking for, or what?
Excuse me?
Are you asking for Cliff's
If-
notes
if-
of it, or what?
Pete, if
I'm
you're
trying to
going
understand what
keep-
you're
if
asking
you're going
for.
to keep taking, making references that I'm unfortunately not following myself, I'm asking for what I just described. If you want to put it on
I
the
don't
agenda for a
understand.
vote and everybody says we don't want it, that's fine. But that's what I'm asking for.
Mr. Kwong, also regards to that bylaw provision, is it not true that the maker of the original motion And the second has to agree to reconsideration.
Yeah, for reconsideration to move forward, it has to be motion, seconded, and approved.
By the original makers of the motion.
No. It's
Okay.
just, you just have to be on the side seeking, but I believe that was unanimously approved.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about that in the way of the bylaws.
It has to,
May
it
I
has
make a
to.
once, through the chair, may I make a suggestion? Maybe it might be helpful just to have the transcript, have a transcript made of the audio recording, and then to allow for any corrections to be made by General Manager Palmer and myself to any maybe misinterpretation or misstatements of the sections. That might be the easiest thing to do, as opposed to having a written memoranda. By giving you a written memorandum, I mean, you could request that, but based on Director Ulrich's comments, he seems to want to give that to the public, and again, my legal analysis is to you, it's not to the public.
Excuse me, I believe that was there's a series of presumptions being made as far as my intent.
I just wanted to make
I've
clear what
indicated-
you're asking
excuse me,
for, because you had
excuse
said
me.
something about
No,
the
you
constituents wanting to
inferred an
know.
intent, Mr. Kwong, and the reality of it is, as I stated at the outset, I would just simply like to understand your analysis, and I could not follow it on the audio record. So a written record, even if it's from a transcript, is just fine. I'm entitled to this as a member of this board, and I'd appreciate it if I could obtain it. It's that simple.
Why don't we go with that? Get a copy of the transcript.
Is that something that we can do, Mr. Pong?
We can contact a court reporter service who often does this. They listen to recordings and they make a transcript. The transcript is then reviewed by the people who are being quoted, mainly myself and Mr. Palmer. We would be given an opportunity to make any corrections, something as simple as an A is really an and, or something along those lines.
Is that good with you, Mr. Ulrich?
Yes, it is. However, I do reserve the right to bring the issue up again, should it be necessary, notwithstanding the objections and obstacles that have been put forth by some of my fellow board members.
And this, Mr. Kwong, I do have a question for you.
Yes.
And that is, not to beleaguer this issue, and the fact that some people are very much involved in this, but when does it rise to the occasion of having an AG opinion on things?
That really is the call of the board itself. If there is a legal question that is of a unique nature, and then to make that to request an AG opinion about that, I mean.
The AG will not do one for a special district.
Okay.
Sorry.
I stand corrected.
Thank you.
Is that a legal opinion?
No, it's the truth.
Mr. Palmer, anything further?
On this or on my comments?
Anything you'd like?
Okay. A couple of things from an operational standpoint. We've got we're having a little outbreak of some water bugs at the plant. Something we haven't seen in a long time, if ever. Probably brought in by a bug or a bird. Those little bugs that swim through the water. It's causing real problems with our turbidity and our bacteria sampling. Today we put a slug of bleach, chlorine bleach, through the system to try and kill it. It doesn't look like it was strong enough. We're going to have to do it again. Goes back to our chem room issues. We don't allow chlorine to go out, so we stop the water in the chlorine contact chamber and pump it back in. But it's quite a little problem. When we were putting the 2 new filters online to deal with this, we had a very, very large slug of plastic come out of the filter. We're going to collect some of the plastic and put it in some Ziploc bags. We're getting a whole lot of the Chiquita banana stickers, and some stickers from the soaps that the resorts wrap around the soaps. And so we're gonna deliver some of those stickers back to the hotels and try and get them to stop using little plastic stickers that are ending up in our filters. We got our screen and our bagger in place. There's actually a sample bag of our soil here. We're also having a problem down on at the Norway tract. The old force main, a couple of manholes are in really bad shape. We went in them and took a look. The concrete is pretty well eaten out, we think, through the rebar and potentially close to all the way through the concrete into the dirt. So we're gonna schedule those for full replacement. These are where the pump discharged for many, many years. The other thing we're starting to see is the lining is gonna start to get more expensive in the next couple of years. We're gonna have to do more pipe bursting. We had a backup in the line from Taramina across the into the Meadows area last weekend. It didn't get out into a home or into the nature area, but we had a backup in that line. We're going to need to do some pipe bursting. Lining is somewhere in the $30 to $40 a foot range for small diameter. Pipe bursting is between $100 and $150 a foot. So as we get into the pipe bursting rather than lining, it's going to get more expensive in the years coming for some of the small diameter lines. And I have a little video here that our consultant put together. If I can get this to start up again. This is of Kunkel Creek. We've been seeing about a foot decay or loss in the bed of the cover over the pipe every decade. And the velocities of the blue and green are below scour velocities. Anything in the yellow, orange, and red is a higher velocity. We're not in imminent danger of collapse, but you know, there are some issues. This is the American Hay right here, right off of Short Street. This line zigzags right through the bottom of the creek and comes out down here on Prospect by the trail. This is a short video. You can see from the speed of the water through that canyon that we have some pretty high velocities. The red is upwards of 15 feet per second, which is well above scour velocities.
How did you do
It's magic. This manhole here, there's a creek that comes in off of some homes off of Apricot, and there's a line here. This piece of sewer main that comes down here, part of it is actually already exposed. You can kind of see how these manholes are acting like piers in the middle of a fast-flowing stream. So we've got some work to do to figure out how to resolve this. You know, this is one of those projects that digging up the creek is a significant environmental issue, and so we're looking at some alternatives, possibly starting up here in the parking lot of the hay store and doing directional drilling all the way down to the bottom. It's about 1,400 feet of pipe. So we're pretty much through the technical portion of our analysis here, and we're going to take a look at some environmental and some boring issues. But I thought I'd bring the slide to show you the speeds and the kind of issues that some of our pipes that are along these bottoms of these creeks you know, present. So
What's the size of that pipe, Jeff?
I believe this is an 8, and we probably, based on looking at the upstream flow that comes down out of Oakview area, we probably need to go to a 10. There's not much potential for growth, but there is a little bit of potential for growth in terms of some vacant lots. But you know, at full flow, it's getting close to being a full flow pipe issue. So it could be a pipe burst issue, it could be a drilling in a 10-inch line, but we're gonna look at some options.
Has the county made any, imitation or thought of, lining that channel?
No, this is a, this is a blue line stream. This is very, very pristine in terms of a creek. They're not gonna line that or put in a box or anything. But access is very, very limited. To get equipment in there would cause, significant impact in terms of trees and vegetation and going through people's yards and all kinds of problems. There's an access here. There's really no access at all along this entire side. There's a little bit of access here, and then, the next access is about maybe 800 feet downstream. And so you'd be crawling up the middle of this channel with a large excavator, and it would be pretty significant.
Jeff, is there a line that goes down Ventura Avenue, a trunk line?
No, Oakview, from about Dolls, coming the Oakview Market, Dolls comes up this way, and then this is the main line that goes down south of Dolls, the Sunset School neighborhood. That all goes down a line off the back of the hill. And so all of Oakview also comes down this line too. So, the pipe follows topography, and this is the low spot. And so, we really don't have a lot of options in terms of how to get the sewage, down the hill to the trail. It's got to get down to the trail somewhere, because that's where the trunk line is.
Yeah.
But, these velocities are very hard to overcome in terms of protection. Typically, just rock won't provide enough protection. It needs to be grouted and anchored in place, which then raises the environmental impacts. When you start digging trenches and creating, large concreted rock protection methods. So it's something that we're going to have to deal with, and it's not something immediately, but it's something in the very near future we're going to have to come up with a solution, especially since part of this pipe is already exposed. This manhole probably only has maybe 3 more feet of cover before the main line is exposed.
What extent the dimension?
These are manholes. So these are 5-foot diameter manholes. The pipe is an 8-inch pipe.
What distance?
I don't recall the distance of these runs. These are usually manhole to manhole is, in the 200-foot range, maybe a little bit longer. These might be, at 2 to 250, and then there's a couple of reaches in here that are longer. But you're talking about the trees and rocks that get pushed by. When water's moving 15 feet a second, it'll push big trees, big rocks, pretty easily. And so that's the fear, is the water pushing a rock that hits right on these manholes and collapses or fills the manhole with rock. So it's probably going to be, a potential of a major capital project or another drilling project to figure out how to solve this.
Is that about 1,800 feet?
It's about 1,400 feet to the bottom.
Is that a straight line or
Yeah, that's a straight line.
straight line distance?
Right, so it'd be 1,400 feet. If we drilled it, it'd probably be a slope of maybe 4% sort of slope, which when you get above 2% or even above 1.5%, the water really starts to whistle. So, that's about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaiser.
Yeah, something I didn't have right on the spot. earlier in the way of director's comments. Since it was such lengthy discussion, I thought it was important to make sure that we have what we've approved in the past as a board in front of me. And I'm referring to the resolution 2010-17, which is adopted by this board on November 22nd, 2010. It's the rules of order, and more specifically Article 10 in Section 2. I would encourage the general manager and council to take a look at that because a motion to reconsider made at a subsequent meeting, if after an adjournment of a meeting where a question was previously considered, a board member who voted with the prevailing side on that question requests reconsideration of the question, a motion for reconsideration will be placed on the agenda of the board's next scheduled meeting. At the next scheduled meeting, any board member may second the motion for reconsideration. If a majority of the board votes in favor of the motion to reconsider, the question will be reheard before the board. Upon adoption, a motion for reconsideration cancels the previous vote on the question as though the previous vote had never taken place. And it goes on a little bit further. But just important to take recognition of our bylaws as adopted whenever there's any type of reconsideration posed for an item. And again, I present that to you, not as an attorney, or posing as an attorney, but just something to take a look at.
Got anything, Mr. Fong?
Nope.
Nope.
Remember when we wrote?
It's all here.
Anything further?
No.
Okay, with that, we'll stand adjourned at 7:30.